And welcome back to the Ben Obrick Show. If you're just tuning in, I've got Josh Forti on here, owner of the Think Different Theory podcast. Now, Josh is a self-grown entrepreneur, grew up on a farm, dropped out of college. I didn't even go to college. The guy said, hey, I'm going to spend like a few weeks in here. He's like, nah, this isn't for me. And he's going to do multiple seven figures this year. Josh, again, thank you for being on the show here. And I know we want to talk about growing an audience for everybody that is on here right now. How can growing an audience really benefit them, and who's it for?
Yeah, for sure. Dude, who's an audience for and how can it benefit you? Well, first off, so it's for anybody that wants a life of freedom and that wants to create their own reality. I specifically focus on serving entrepreneurs, online entrepreneurs specifically. So these are like agency owners, course creators and digital products providers, coaches, consultants, affiliate marketers, SaaS developers, like things like that, even B2B sales, right? Like things like that. Anybody that has a business online, that's who I focus on. And that's just my niche. But really building an audience is for anybody that wants to go out there and create their dream life, because the interesting thing about growing an audience is when you actually understand, and we can kind of dive into this a little bit, but like when you actually understand what it takes to build an audience and like how, like why people follow and what it is, like you realize that the elements that you put in allow you and almost like require you to be yourself, know what you believe in, and like go out there and sell stuff. And so when you have this raving fan base of customers that are like, yeah, I want to buy your stuff, I'm all about you and your message, and like you literally can go be yourself. I mean, I wear flip-flops and a backwards hat on stage in front of 1,000 people, right? I'm so dead serious, right? White pants, black t-shirt, backwards hat, and flip-flops every time I speak. Why? Like that's me, it's my personality, and people love it because they're like my people and they buy into my message. So whether it's you're an artist or you're an entrepreneur or you're a soccer player, you know, whatever, like if you have an audience, like it gives you the ticket to freedom to create whatever life that you want to live.
I love it. I love it. So talk about some of the things that people can apply in building an audience. Obviously, you have all this social media. TikTok's a thing now. Instagram is, I mean, TikTok's overgrown Instagram, but you've got YouTube, you've got podcasts, you've got radio shows like this. I mean, what are some of the things that people can do, regardless of like what walk of life or what walk of business that they're in, to start building an audience for themselves and getting people, consumers, potential, you know, people to do business with them to actually know who the heck they are?
Yeah. So I'm going to run through this quick for the sake of time, but like there's really 4 core pieces to growing an audience. And that's number 1, you need a location. You actually need to know like what it is that you're actually building, right? Are you going to launch a Facebook group? Are you going to launch a podcast? Are you going to launch an Instagram channel? Like you need actually a place for people to actually follow you at. I recommend just picking one. My favorite one is a Facebook group to start with, a podcast to follow up with. I believe that combination for most people is a very deadly combination of making a lot of money. I'm specifically focused on, is my following going to make me money or not? I don't care about vanity metrics. I don't care about views. I don't care about followers. I care about whether or not those views and followers make me money. I'd much rather have 10,000 followers or members than 100,000 if I'm making $100,000 versus $10,000, right? Like that's all I care about. So podcast and Facebook groups are, for me, the highest value money-making machines. The second part of that, and I think the most important part of this, is you need a message. And I'm a big New England Patriots fan, right? My whole life, ever since I've been like 8, 9, 10 years old, right? I've been a big Tom Brady fan. My heart broke when he went to the Buccaneers. Like, oh my gosh, right? But I want you to think about this. Like, think back to like Tom Brady before Tom Brady was Tom Brady, right? Like, if you go back and you watch like some of his old videos, it's like, why did people buy into him before he was a winner? Because he positioned himself as an underdog. He knew like, he's like, I'm an underdog. We're the underdogs. We're going to go win that championship. And he's like, and here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do it through teamwork and dedication. And like, this is the thing. And so he's got a very clear who, he's got a very clear what, like where and where we're going, and a very clear how. And it's like, we're the underdogs. We're going to go win a championship. And like, we're going to do it through teamwork and dedication. And like, we buy into that. Like there's this identity that's right there. And it's like, oh my gosh, I want to follow Tom Brady. Like I'm a Tom Brady fan. I followed him before he had won 6 Super Bowls, before he was the GOAT, right? And I did that because of like the connection that he'd had there. And so like your message when you're building an audience is like, you need that. It's like, who are you speaking to? And so for me, I'm like, hey, I'm focused on free thinkers, which is impact-driven entrepreneurs, right? People that are thinking for themselves and creating that impact. And where are we going? We're going to go build the life of our dreams. How are we going to go do that? We're going to do that through building an audience. Like, that's my message. And that's why people buy into me. So like when you're building that audience, like you need a message that people buy into, because people don't really care about what you do. They care about why you're doing it and the message and the story behind it. And so if you have like a location, you have a super good message, and then you have content, which is that kind of that third pillar there, just producing lots of content specifically for that type of person, like that's what's ultimately going to allow them to find you and you to be able to communicate with them. And whether that's a podcast or a Facebook group, live videos, radio, whatever, like creating that content, delivering your message, telling them to come follow in your location. And then finally, that fourth point there, which is having an offer. My best example, so many people all the time are like, I just want to provide free value. I just want to help people. I'm like, you suck. If you actually cared about your audience, you'd sell them something. You know why? I want you to think about, and I'll ask you this, Ben, what's one of your hobbies?
I like working on cars.
You like working on cars. All right. So you probably follow some car influencers, right? People that, have you ever bought anything to help you learn more about cars?
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, you have. Why? Because you're interested in that and it's your hobby. So if you have a following, people are following you for a very specific reason. You follow your influencers because they are car people. People follow me because I build audiences. They're interested in that. So what are they going to do? They're going to spend money, right? They want to buy from you. They're either going to spend it on you or they're going to go elsewhere. So you need to provide the best quality product. And not only does that make your thing sustainable because now you have revenue coming in and you can fund everything, it also positions you as the expert because people see other people paying you money, and that's a credibility play in their mind.
I love that. 100%, you're completely accurate with that. So to follow up on actually having a product, okay? So how do you ensure that people get results with the product?
So like me personally?
Yep.
So for me, like I build my products 3 times. Okay. The first time I go through and I actually sign clients that I'm doing it for them. I literally sit down and I'm like, hey, you're going to pay me $20,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is. And I'm going to go and implement this. And I'm going to work with you until I get results. That's my guarantee. So I do that 3, 4, 5 times. I'm like, sweet. That's phase 1. Now I know the system works. Now I'm going to take that. I'm going to build it a second time in an actual product format, a digital course, a coaching program, whatever. And I'm going to put people through that. And that's the second time I build the product. And then the third time, after I put people through that, I'm going to get all the feedback back from them. And I'm going to say, okay, that needs to be fixed. That didn't work. There's holes there. Now I'm going to build it a third time and I'm going to make it absolutely perfectly. And now it's ready for me to actually remove myself from and just sell as an actual product.
I love that. 100%, man. And the value that you're dropping here is absolutely insane. So I've got a couple other questions for you because I know that you grew up with an extremely hard work ethic. I came from a very similar background as far as everything that you explained earlier on in the show. So I had to smile about that. But here's what I have a question is, how important is it to go all in on one thing? Because I think that for a lot of people, we hedge. We have like a shiny object syndrome and we'll look at one thing, but if it doesn't work or we hit like the first speed bump, we backtrack, we retreat, we don't ever go at it again. Or we'll just try something different and try to find an easier path. And if there's anything that I've seen with you, because we're friends on Facebook, I've been seeing you for a long time, you are phenomenally consistent. And I would beg to say that consistency is something most people lack. And if you're consistent, like just that alone, you're going to throw out 90% of the competition.
Yes, 1000%. So consistency, I believe, is the most important element in any form of entrepreneurship venture ever, simply because if you are just consistent and continue to show up, like by default, you will just win because you will be there when somebody else won't. Like if you're just there every single time, you're going to hit that opportunity. Now, as far as like actually picking something and staying with it, I actually take a little bit of a different approach to this than some people. I think the first question that you have to ask yourself is, who are you and what do you want?
Absolutely.
Because like, if you don't know yourself, if you don't know like what you stand for, if you don't know what it means to be the truest version of yourself, like you don't even know if what you're doing is in alignment with you. If you're doing something out of alignment, it's never going to work anyway. Right. So like at the beginning, like sit down and ask yourself a question. And if you're not sure, if you're like, I don't know what I want to do, then give yourself permission to go out and try things and be like, okay, I'm going to try this for 3 months and then don't try anything else. And then the next thing and the next thing. And then you find something that you like. But when you're ready to actually go and be successful, and I don't mean like, oh yeah, I'm going to make 50 grand this year or 100 grand this year. I mean like, okay, it is time to blow up. It is time to get massive results, be the category thing, become an authority, get rich, right? Like now it's like focus is like your absolute best friend. Dan Henry, I think it was Dan Henry. Like one of my friends, he was like, focus is like cocaine, right? And like, I don't do coke. I don't like, I'm not saying that, but like, you hear people talk about how it's like, ah, like they just have all this focus in that when they're doing it. It's like, that's what focus is. It's like this drug that when you block everything else out, the momentum that you create is so ridiculously amazing that like that becomes your best friend. And that's the thing that's ultimately going to get you results. So I think like, try things, give yourself permission to try things until you know the thing that you're ultimately supposed to build. And then when you know that gut feeling says, that's the one, like, I know that this is what I want to do. Don't look at anybody else. I don't care if anybody else has done it. I don't care if it's an exact replica of Amazon. Like, you literally go through and you say, that's what I'm going to do. You figure out a way to go and do that, cut all ties, burn all boats, and say, that's what I'm doing, and go all in on that. And I highly recommend build an audience around it, because that's the only way to make it sustainable.
Agreed. So here's the next thing then is when it comes to finding that passion, what I've found in my experience is that, and I heard Scooter Braun say this, okay, but he said, you have to create wealth in a way that allows you to do more of what you love in life, not less. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, you're like, look, we're taught, we're led, go to work for 40 years for somebody else, retire, get a gold watch. And I always tell people, get a motorhome, all right, travel around the US, get arthritis, and then die in an assisted living home. That is what like the quote unquote American dream is. And then I heard somebody say, you have to create wealth in a way that allows you to do more of what you love and not less. So I think it's very important that however you create income, you have to try. You have to, if you don't know what it is, you have to do those things and find out what it is, because you can make $1 million a month. But if you hate the way you do it, if everything else is failing and not fulfilling, like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, not at all.
100%.
No.
So where can people find out more about what you have to offer? You've got something coming up you were talking to me about right before this show, all about building audience and kind of setting that stage. Talk to everybody on here about how they can find out more about you, get involved with what you have, because out of anybody that's been on my show so far, I would venture to say that you have the ability to provide some of the highest value out of anybody that we've had here on the Ben Oberg Show.
I appreciate that, man. So on June 1st, actually, we have a workshop. It's a free 5-day workshop where I'm going to be teaching the secrets of how to grow a following online that actually pays you. One where you literally make cold, hard cash collected in your bank account. I've grown to manage, like I said, over 6 million followers, over $3 million collected. And over the course of the 5 days, it's completely free to attend, but I'm going to like walk you through step by step how to pick your platform, how to design your message, how to create content, how to design your offer, how to launch in 63 days or less. That entire process of everything, 100% free to attend. If you go to the website is my name. It's joshforti.com/workshop. That's JOSHF as in Frank, ORTI.com/workshop. You can sign up there 100% for free. And then the best place to actually like consume more of my content, learn about what I do, would be thinkdifferenttheory.com, which is the name of my show, thinkdifferenttheory.com. That has my podcast on there. That has all my freebies on there, my stories on there, everything like that. We have over 220 episodes now of the podcast out that we've done and had some sweet names on there. So joshforti.com/workshop for the training, thinkdifferenttheory.com for the podcast. That'd be the best place for it.
Josh Forti, everyone. Josh, I appreciate you being here on the Ben Oberg Show. Thanks,
man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, guys, when we come back from break, we're going to be talking more about building your audience. We're going to be diving into some of the details of what Josh brought up here, all when we come back from this brief message.